include the entire county, but it does include locations between Foley and Lillian, right around Alberta, Calprin Creek Road, County Road 87, County Road 95. Anyone inside that red polygon box is at risk to be dealing with a possible tornado. So we just have to stay with this and keep monitoring this and keep waiting for the new radar scans to pop in, because I'm sure the sirens are sounding for a huge chunk of the county. But I want to emphasize that most of you are not included in this. This is a big look at the watch warning map. And we showed this a lot throughout the course of the morning news, that flash flood watches covered almost every section. But this tornado warning is only for the locations inside that red polygon box. So if you're living on the eastern shore, if you're living in Bay Minette, you do not have to worry about a tornado right now. That may change later today because we're northeast of Cristobal. But with this particular warning, the only spots that are in danger are north of Gulf Shores and Orange Beach and between Foley and Lillian. Alberta, you need to be in your safe place. And if you live along that Highway 98 corridor that you see inside that red polygon box, you need to make sure you are getting into shelter immediately. So why do we end up dealing with this kind of risk if Cristobal is extremely weak? Well, that's because we are in the dreaded northeast quadrant. This is a look at the imagery of the latest radar imagery of Cristobal. Cristobal located right there in the Gulf waters south of New Orleans, and we are northeast of that. So we are in what's known as the northeast quadrant. Maximum sustained winds with this feature are only at 50 miles an hour. So it's not really a very strong tropical storm, and it's not expected to become a hurricane. If anything, it's going to make landfall south of New Orleans along the Louisiana coast later this afternoon. But because of being in that northeast quadrant, these outer feeder bands can produce isolated tornadoes. We've seen plenty of water spouts already this morning, but we have not actually had a tornado warning go off until now. And we could see several more of these, unfortunately, going off before the day is over. Now, when does the tornado threat end? The tornado threat ends once we are parallel to Cristobal. So here's the latest track from the Hurricane Center office in Miami. This came out at 7 o'clock in the morning. It's expected to make landfall later today, about 1 o'clock, just south of New Orleans, and then it will take a northwestward track where it will weaken by tonight. The maximum sustained winds will drop to 40 miles an hour, and then it will be back to a tropical depression by tomorrow afternoon in southern Arkansas. We are on the east side, which means we're on the bad side. We get the rain, we get the coastal flooding, and unfortunately, we have the tornado threat. But by later tonight, once we're parallel to Cristobal, the tornado threat is going to be over. Only when you are northeast of the center are you in any sort of danger to deal with a tornado threat. And unfortunately, that's what we've got. But by tonight, that tornado threat will end, even though we'll still have to deal with occasional rain and storms. So again, if you're just joining us, I know it's the top of the hour. Some of you are expecting to see Fox News Sunday, but we've had to cut that off because of a tornado warning for Baldwin County. Now, I know a lot of you in Baldwin County may hear sirens, and the reason why is because the sirens sound for the entire county. It does not include every single section of the county. All it includes is a section of the county, what's known as the polygon, which is this red box that you see located between Foley and Lillian. So those of you inside that red box need to make sure that you are in shelter immediately. If you know anyone that lives in Alberta especially, make sure you're telling them to get to their safe place, which is the lowest level of a home, away from doors, away from windows, preferably a first floor bathroom. That is always the best place to be. We go back to looking at the radar, and you can see the possible tornado is just west of Alberta, right around County Road 95, right here in this particular section. You have what's known as an inflow, which is located right along the Highway 98 corridor. That's your storm inflow, and your possible tornado would be just to the south of that. So Alberta is located right here, and this possible tornado would be just to the east of you. So you don't have a lot of time to get in shelter, and this is a fast-moving system. This thing's moving northwest at 30 miles per hour. Now, the tornado warning technically is going to be active all the way until 8:45. It's likely that it won't last that long simply because of how fast the system is moving. So we pull up the velocity display, and you can see right here is where the possible tornado is located, right around County Road 95 and Highway 98. So in that section is where the possible tornado is working its way to the north and west and working its way northwest in a hurry. So make sure you are taking action right now. I just want to calm everyone's nerves who are on the eastern shore, who are in Bay Minette. You are not in any sort of danger right now from this. So for the time being, just monitor the weather. We may see additional tornado warnings later today, but for this particular storm, only locations in the red box are in any sort of imminent danger. This is just to the east of Alberta, and this feature is going to keep lifting northwest quickly. This is in a rural section of Baldwin County. Does not include the eastern shore, but we're just going to have to keep watching this over the next several minutes, and mostly because it is moving so fast. And that's something that we do see often when we're in the northeast quadrant of a particular tropical system. But this is the first one we've had to deal with during the hurricane season. So you can see on this display of the radar, we do have that circled where the tornado is, and we're going to keep watching it over the next several minutes. I'm going to back this up, and I'm going to let you see a frame of the last 15 minutes, and you see where the dark green and the bright blue are located. See how it's moving to the northwest at 30? That's just a 15-minute loop, and it gives you a good idea of where this feature is going to be moving. It looks like there's a good chance, Alberta, you might get bypassed because it looks like it's going to be moving more toward Cowpen Creek Road and just to the north of Alberta and continuing northward towards parts of Highway 59. Now, in these systems, tornadoes that are associated with tropical systems, a lot of them weaken quickly, and if that happens, the tornado warning will get dropped and we'll take you back to programming. But for now, we're going to stay with it because it's still moving northwest at 30 miles an hour. It's right near Alberta, or 7 miles to the east of Foley. That is what we are monitoring right now, and we're just going to stay with this as we follow the danger from this particular outer band of Cristobal. We'll show you again why we have this threat. It's because whenever a tropical system shows up, even a weak one like Cristobal, if you're in the northeast quadrant, if you're northeast of the center, you're in danger of dealing with tornadoes from the outer bands of these tropical systems, even if they're not that powerful. And Cristobal, compared to systems we've seen in the past, really isn't all that powerful. But you need to make sure that even when this tornado warning is either canceled or expired, you need to understand that additional ones could flare up throughout the course of the day. This could be the first of several. The Weather Service has stated that could be a big potential hazard for us, in addition to coastal flooding. So we're going to stay with it, and we're going to keep monitoring this, and we're going to keep watching all of the radar scans. Here's a bigger picture of the radar, and you can see where all these showers are moving in a southwest to northeast motion. The heaviest rain right now is falling south of Interstate 10. Now, the rain's a good thing. We all know that. We've been needing it because of the drought conditions, but this is where we've got the big problem, and this is just moving so fast. You got big soakings of rain located in Magnolia Springs, Bon Secour, Barnwell, Fairhope, but the possible tornado looks like it's just in this region right here, north of Alberta, right around County Road 32 and Cowpen Creek Road. If you know anyone in that area, make sure they are in shelter. The question is the Weather Service going to keep this active, or will it get dropped once it moves out of the polygon box? That's what we're going to have to keep watching and waiting for over the next several minutes, because these things with these tornado warnings with tropical systems, they're so hard to find on radar, and the fact that they move so fast. You almost blink and you miss it. So we'll keep watching it. On the velocity display, it would still be located right here where you have the bright blue and the dark green. That would be your velocity couplet. That would be the possible tornado. We will check what's known as the debris signature and see if we can find a debris signature with this at all. A little bit maybe a small one, maybe right here. This would be possible debris that's being lofted up by the radar. That would be north of Alberta along County Road 87. So the radar is picking up something aloft from the signature, which means that there's a very good chance it could be on the ground. So don't take any chances trying to get any video of this. Just make sure you're staying in your safe place as we continue to sort of watch and wait and see what this feature does. But we are going to stay with it. If you're joining us, I'm meteorologist Michael White. I know you're probably expecting to see Fox News Sunday, but we have a tornado warning in parts of Baldwin County right near Alberta, and that expires at 8:45. It may expire sooner depending on what happens with this particular storm. That's your possible tornado between County Road 95 and County Road 87. That's just to the north of Highway 98, where you have this dark green and this bright blue. That's the possible tornado, and you see it just lifted to the north and west, and it's moving fast. It's moving northwest at about 30 miles per hour. So make sure anyone inside this box, this red box, is getting into shelter immediately. You do not want to take any chances with something like this, because this is a pretty solid system and a pretty solid storm track that we have to continue to monitor. We have been wondering whether or not we were going to see tornado warnings when the first one would appear, and here it is. We have been sort of watching and waiting because we knew with Cristobal this was going to be the big hazard. It wasn't necessarily going to be a massive amount of wind because Cristobal is only producing a 50-mile-an-hour maximum sustained wind. This was going to be the problem. And when you're northeast of these tropical systems, tornado warnings can make very quick appearances. Here's a look at the bigger picture on the radar. Notice that the showers are moving from the southwest to the northeast. Okay, a lot of these have been waterspouts that have fizzled away once they moved across the shoreline. But you start to see some of these taking these little kidney bean shapes. Those are the ones that can produce rotation. You need two key ingredients for a tornado: humid air. We've got that, and you also need rotating of the wind with height. The outer feeder bands of a tropical system can create just enough of that to warrant tornado warnings going off. We saw several along the Florida Peninsula yesterday. Orlando had a very massive sized tornado appear. A lot of the video from that has gone viral on social media, but this is the one that's impacting Baldwin County. So if you're watching us on the eastern shore, you're watching us in Bay Minette or Stockton or Gulf Shores, Orange Beach, there's no immediate threat for you. You are not in danger from this particular tornado. Only Alberta and anyone inside that red box known as the polygon is in danger, and that's why we're just going to stay with this until we end up getting an all clear from the Weather Service, or until the signature fades away, and when that happens, we'll take you back to Fox News Sunday. There's the polygon, and you can see that the storm, at least the main portion, should be just north of Alberta. All right, you look on the radar, you see Foley Beach Express on the left. You see County Road 32 in the middle and Cowpen Creek Road. The possible tornado is just north and just to the east of the Foley Beach Expressway. So for those of you who take the Baldwin Beach Expressway as a shortcut to Orange Beach, you know you have that interchange where it merges into the Foley Beach Express. That's right here. This is where that happens. So the possible tornado is just to the north and east of that location. So if you live in this area, be aware of that. We're going to keep following this over the next several minutes. Where the Baldwin Beach Express meets the Foley Beach Express, just to the northeast of that is where the possible tornado is currently located. We pull up the velocity display, and you can see right there we still have a good decent signature that is located just to the northeast of that region, just northeast of where the Baldwin Beach Express meets the Foley Beach Express. We just got a new sweep scan, so I'll highlight again right in that area what the situation is, and the polygon box just got smaller. So Alberta, you are now no longer included in the tornado warning because the signature is now north of your area. So here's Alberta, and here's the possible tornado at Cowpen Creek Road and County Road 32. That intersection is where the possible tornado is as it lifts to the north and west. Elsinore, it's just to the south of you. Summerdale, it is just to the east of you, and it's moving northwest at 30 miles per hour. Now, this does put part of the Baldwin Beach Expressway in the tornado warning polygon. There are several homes right along this county road. Make sure all of you are in the lowest level of your home, away from doors, away from windows, preferably the first floor bathroom. I know that the sirens are probably going off for a huge chunk of Baldwin County right now. We obviously cannot control that. That's why we always implore you to have an app on your phone that gives you immediate weather alerts, because if you are inside one of these polygon boxes, if your geographic location is in one of these polygons, you get a loud alert on your phone automatically that your cell carrier pushes out. So we're just going to keep staying with this as we continue to monitor what this tornado or possible tornado is going to do as it keeps tracking its way to the north and west at about 30 miles per hour. Now, the Weather Service just reshaped the possible polygon, and it's moving. It has decreased in speed a little bit, northwest at about 25 miles per hour. It's 6 miles to the northeast of Foley, and the storm is still very capable of producing a tornado. So we're just going to stay with this and monitor this. I've got a private chat up on my laptop with the Weather Service, and they are saying that they're going to stick with this for now. They do not intend to drop this, at least not anytime soon. There is possible hail located inside this storm, but the main threat is still from a tornado, and the warning is still set to expire at about 8:45. If you are along Highway 59, it is to the east of you. If you're in Summerdale, I would pay extra close attention to this. Now, these latest scans are looking a little bit weaker, which is good. That means there's a good chance the Weather Service may cancel this tornado warning. It doesn't look as ominous as it did earlier. I'll back this up and let you see a loop of the velocity display. I'll do this for 15 minutes, so it's a little bit easier to spot. Notice on this loop that dark green that you see tracking northwest. The dark green starts to fade as it moves to the north of Alberta. That's the signature getting a little bit weaker. Now, we're going to wait and see whether it re-intensifies, but that's a good sign that if there is a tornado on the ground, it might be getting ready to move away, lift out, dissipate. Typically, tornadoes associated with tropical systems don't stay on the ground very long, but we have seen some that do. Some of them sort of break the statistical barrier and stay on the ground for lengthy periods of time. So we're just going to have to stick with this and keep watching it. But it is moving to the northwest at about 25 miles per hour. So what would be the locations inside that? Well, if it's moving northwest at 25 miles an hour, it would be to Robertsdale. I'd say in less than 27 minutes. I think it'll probably be there a lot sooner than that. Loxley would be to you in about 46 minutes. But that's assuming that it decreases in speed, which I don't think it will. I think it's going to pick up speed, if anything. So let me try to redraw that and see if we can get that up to about 20 miles an hour. Malbus, it would be to you in, I'd say, 45 to 50 minutes. Robertsdale, about the next 20 minutes. But that would also mean that a new tornado warning would have to be issued because it would be outside of that box by the time it reached Robertsdale. So we're just going to have to watch and wait. And a lot of times with these systems, that's what you got to do, is just watch and wait and see what happens. For now, the Weather Service is saying they're keeping the warning active. They're saying the circulation has weakened. They do not plan to extend the warning, but they will monitor to see whether or not it re-strengthens. That was from the Weather Service. So the circulation has weakened, and we showed you that on the radar. Weather Service is confirming that. They do not plan to extend the warning. That means those of you in Robertsdale, you are safe for now. You need to keep an eye out because a tornado warning could easily be issued for you. But what's likely going to happen is we're going to see this tornado warning get canceled within the next several minutes. When that happens, we'll take you back to Fox News Sunday, and you, as well as us in the Weather Center, will just sort of be on standby as Cristobal approaches the Louisiana coast, because we could see more of these showing up before the day is over. The tornado warning threat by far is the biggest threat that we will end up facing today, and these things can be very short-lived. They can be fast movers, but we're just going to keep staying with this. The Weather Service has said they're not going to extend the warning, but they're keeping it active for now. We'll pull up where the possible rotation is, and it's right to the west of Summerdale. So Summerdale, located right there on Highway Highway 59, and the possible tornado would be right in this region, just between Highway 50, between the Baldwin Beach Express and Cowpen Creek Road would be where you may have a funnel or a possible tornado signature. It's not one of the stronger tornado signatures we've ever spotted on the radar, but it's enough that the Weather Service felt a warning needed to be issued. The good news is, over the last several minutes, we have seen the signature decrease in intensity, which means the probability of an active tornado on the ground has decreased. And so therefore, we're just going to stick with this a little while longer and see what it decides to do. We're not going to take you back to Fox News Sunday until the Weather Service pulls the trigger on canceling the warning or issuing a new one. But the signature is starting to leave the tornado warning polygon box. So this is sort of the moment where we'll kind of, I would say within the next couple of minutes, I'd say before 8:20, we'll kind of know exactly what's going to happen with this warning, if a new one will be issued or not. While we wait on that call, I'll show you where the center of circulation is regarding Cristobal. It's to the south of New Orleans. The maximum sustained winds are at 50 miles per hour. It's not a very strong tropical storm. It's not going to become a hurricane. But because we're in that dreaded northeast quadrant, we have the possibility of dealing with tornadoes in the outer wraparound bands. That's always the worst spot to be in a tropical system, even one as weak as Cristobal. Now, once we are parallel to Cristobal, once the center is parallel to our location, that's when the tornado threat will end, and that will happen later tonight. I will show you the latest track that came in just about an hour or so ago from the Hurricane Center office in Miami. And you can see landfall is expected this afternoon with maximum sustained winds at 50. And then by tonight at about 1 o'clock in the morning, that's when we will see it parallel to our area. And that's when the tornado threat will end. And then by tomorrow afternoon, we'll see it weaken back to a tropical depression. And the center of Cristobal would already be back in southern Arkansas. So our main risks today will come from coastal flooding, possible flash flooding, as well as the isolated tornado threat. So if you're just joining us, the reason why we came on the air is because of a tornado warning that was issued for parts of Baldwin County. Notice it does not include a huge chunk of the county at all. If you're watching us along Gulf Shores in Orange Beach, Fort Morgan, the Eastern Shore, Bay Minette, and there it goes. The warning was just dropped. You saw the red box disappear. So we will take you to Fox News Sunday. I know a lot of you are anxious to get to that. It's 8:20. We will cut back in as needed if new warnings do arise. Right now, we're going to hand it over to Sarah Wall, who is standing by live before we do that. Sarah?
All right, Michael, thank you very much. Obviously, a very active weather day. We're going to continue to track Tropical Storm Cristobal throughout the day for you here. We want to check in with Fox 10 News reporter Asha Stables. She is live on Dauphin Island. And Asha, we've been monitoring the weather conditions there, including some flooding, right?